William Hill sponsors Joshua versus Breazeale on Sky Sports Box Office.
Courageous performance from Martin. He held on very well in the end. I think from our side, George showed, I think, the best performance of his career this evening, the most complete performance, the work. One of the main reason we took this fight wasn't just that it turned out to be an eliminator, but also we thought it would be the perfect step up for Shane and George to also show what they've been working on in recent months. We've obviously had the 2 tune-up bouts, and tonight was a big step up. And I think, I think the partnership showed that it's definitely paying dividends. And as I said, for me, the best performance of George's career tonight. George, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it back. The feedback's been great so far. We knew what Mike Murray was about. He's a tough lad. Skillful fighter, been in big fights. He's never going to let the pressure get to him. I thought I boxed well. I boxed really well. Landed big shots on Murray, hurt him a handful of times, and like he said before, there's no quitting him. He's a gritty fighter. That's what sort of got him through tonight, I think. But I'm really happy with the result, the way I boxed, and it's just a start, really, just a start. Now training with Shane, I feel I've got a trainer who will bring out the very best in me, and I'm ready for anyone now. I knew I was already, but as Kala says, it was a step up tonight. We've made that step.
Is that your best ever win, or just?
I don't know. I'll watch it back. Martin's he's a good fighter. I've probably been in box, better fighters on paper, but I felt I boxed really well tonight. And so I want to go back and critique it. There'll be plenty of things that I'm gonna certainly improve on, but it was nice.
Did he ever hurt you?
No, I don't think he hurt me at all. I mean, it was hot in the arena tonight. It was a physically demanding fight. I think a lot of punches must have been thrown. A lot of big punches were landed. I thought the cut was from a clash of heads, but the referee ruled it a punch. So I'd like to watch that back. You'd assume what Murray's game plan would be to try and land body shots in the first half of the fight, up to tire me out, and then take over the second half. I think he did land some body shots, but he shipped a few headshots himself. In the early rounds, it probably took a lot of energy out of the tank for him, and yeah.
Right, just before we answer more questions, Shane, you've obviously spent a lot of time working on perfecting George and putting George back on track. I was listening to the instructions you gave before. One instruction was, especially with Murray, when it's coming on the inside against the ropes, George's head movement, which I thought was kind you wouldn't pick out immediately on George's performance, but I thought the head movement was amazing, especially off the ropes. Did George follow the plan? Are you happy with the progress?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I mean, I think there's still a lot of things to work on, but in terms of performance, pacing the fight, Murray was absolutely exhausted after 6 rounds, and George says, his plan was to slow him down with body shots. The thing is, George sunk in some great body shots of his own, and Murray just didn't have the gears tonight. He was exhausted early, and I think George had him gone a handful of times, but what an extremely tough man Martin Murray is, and I was really impressed with George's performance tonight. I think it was, I didn't see the Joshua fight, but I think it was definitely the fight of the night, and it was a great fight for the card. So very proud of George.
What happened there in the 12th round, George, when you had him going on the ropes and you seemed to fall over your feet into the ring?
Yeah.
His hand was tangled and yours was tangled as well. It was quite a...
Yeah, I know. I need to again have a look back. I remember one bit where sort of had him buzzed and his legs were gone, and I was out of punching range, and just deciding whether I wanted to step into punching range and let him go. And then some flashbacks to some dodgy decisions that I've had in the past, and I thought I better get him out of here. So yeah, I probably stepped a bit too quick, and canvas wasn't ideal tonight. I felt like you stepped and it was loose, so you went with the canvas. Probably didn't suit Murray to start because he wanted to start on the back foot. Took that away from him straight away because I cut the ring off really well. I always find the home for my jab, for my long shots, and as the fight progresses, as your opponent slows, they become real telling punches. So that's, you know, mixing the hard shots and the sort of the feeler shots and getting your range in is something that we work with Shane, and you know, I think it's paying dividends now. So I felt when Murray was committing, he was giving away, you know, opportunities for me to land bigger shots, and as the fight drew on, it was just about picking those shots, and I had him hurt a handful of times, but didn't want to empty my tank trying to get rid of a man who obviously has a very good chin.
You had 2 canvases on there tonight, took it off you, like a clean one.
That might have been it.
It's conspiracy.
I was our last fight, I think. Yeah. You know what I mean? We did that with Frampton versus Kiko Martinez, because if it rained, you could strip the canvas. He said it was a bit dodgy as well. So interesting.
What's the situation with the WBA? Obviously, that was the eliminator. Was it the final eliminator? So what's the situation?
Well, they had a convention in China this week, and our managing director, Chris Meyer, was over there, met with Mendoza, and there was a confirmation that this would be for the number 2 position. It's billed as an eliminator, on the basis that we still don't know what the situation is with Mr. Felix Sturm and Shudinov. So when that decision's made, hopefully, I mean, I'm not quite sure what the hold up there is, but when that decision's made, we're the one, you know, who's going to fight the champion or the super champion.
Doesn't the Italian come into that?
There is a resolution which goes back. Well, I could sit here for 2 hours and explain it to you, Ron. Let's have a chat on the phone about it, because it really is. It's a very complex situation. We actually have it goes back to the Feigenbutz Shudinov, where we had a signed contract. We took it to a court in New York, and you know, we still have a legal claim on Shudinov, and it's a very dirty, messy. Not great for boxing, but what I'm hoping is that George can fight Sturm Shudinov now, and then the winners of Zeuge Di Carolis in Berlin on July 16th will fight each other, whether that's at the end of the year or next year. Then.
What's your take on the situation, George? Obviously, it sounds like very complicated. You want to be busy and fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd crave a big fight now, to be honest. A major belt would be perfect. I'm not going to get hung up on anything. I'm going to see what materialises. Tonight might be fight of the year candidate from what I've heard back. You know, I'm in entertaining fights. Me and Murray, you know, took the risk and guaranteed value for money before you booked tonight, which we wasn't sure whether we would get elsewhere. I feel both of us, but I'm only concerned about myself. That should be recognised, and because of that, I think I'll have the opportunity to have big fights, because, you know, I've put bums on seats. You know what I mean? Murray had great support there tonight. You could hear it, but there was a lot of boxing fans in there, and I'm sure I won over a few people by the end. World title by the end of the year would be ideal. We'll see what comes about. But whoever I fight, it usually means this is a big fight. So it, you know, I'm viable for most opponents.
I mean, look, you know, if you look at it, I mean, I'm obviously very biased looking at it through my purple lenses, but George is whether you like George or not, it doesn't really matter. He's a top 5 super middleweight, full stop, right? So you look at the top 5 super middleweight. The situation at BA is, I think there's been a lot of decisions over the last months and years, and I think that Mendoza's now doing a very good job in trying to bring the divisions together. If you look at the resolutions, and I think George is definitely going to be part of that. I think, you know, Mendoza recognises, the WBA has definitely recognised George, you know, as one of the outstanding fighters in the division, and or else they wouldn't have made this fight. They didn't do it on the basis of Martin Murray. They did it on the basis of George Groves.
George, there's not been questions about your punch resistance. Do you think you answered those tonight? Because you took some nice punches and you looked okay. Yeah,
you know, I mean, I have to watch it back, to be honest, but I don't remember getting buzzed with anything. Martin Murray's not the biggest puncher on paper, but he's a strong lad, physically strong. You know, it's always the same things with me. It's, you know, stamina, endurance. I had a hard 12 rounds. Sure, I was tired at the end, but so was Martin Murray.
So do you think those questions will always be there regardless?
Yeah, and hopefully they are, you know, because if people are going to bank on them, the opponent's going to work a game plan or whatever around the fact they hope I get tired. You know,
Martin Murray is also the first person I've ever seen to wobble after Abraham. Yeah. I've never seen. I mean, he had a flash knockdown against Terrell, but it was a flash knockdown. But Murray in the, I think, 8th, 9th round, he really wobbled Abraham. I've never seen Abraham wobble in all his 20 whatever world title fights. Abraham's never wobbled. So Murray at that weight, funny enough, he certainly can bang a bit, and whether he noticed it or not, but so I think it's, you know, I just think that George boxed a complete fight tonight. You know, he boxed a complete fight, whether it was the jab, whether it was the left hook, which you're throwing more than ever, the head movement, range. You know, I think from top to bottom, I think was outstanding. And full credit was to Shane again. You know.
We could hear David shouting instructions at you. Could you hear that? Did it make a big difference?
I did hear David. I couldn't work out what he was saying, but I thought he was sitting on his own at that stage. I thought, David? Hey. Hey, yeah.
Because you apparently you were sat behind me the whole time.
Yeah, he's passionate, isn't he? Passion.
Yeah, Harry's 1 in a million. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, apparently one of Andy Joshua's dad was cheering me on as well. Oh yeah. So
nearly got in the corner, didn't he?
So yeah, that was good.
George, you've been reasonably busy this year, obviously 3 fights already. What's going to happen now?
I'm gonna have a break. I think I'm gonna have a break. I'll you know, I'll have some time out. Yeah, we're some family planning to do, and baby on the way, which is nice. So I'm sure that's when the work begins, and
you'll be looking forward to training camps.
But yeah, obviously, certainly 1, possibly 2 before the year's out.
Babies or fights?
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, hopefully something nice and big and juicy to get too stuck into before Christmas would be perfect. But
I think one big one. That's what we'll be going.
Yeah,
we want one big one.
Lovely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
William Hill sponsors Joshua versus Breazeale on Sky Sports Box Office.